Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Today I bring you a video on the best Black Diablos Bow build. Ballistics Season 7 meta has Black Diablos, the strongest raw weapon in the game, has a new piece of the Lunagaron Greaves, which allows us to get this new Season 7 meta build. And this new build carries the new Ballistic skill, which works great with the Black Diablos Bow. As you know, for those of you that do know and have this maxed out at full power, this having more range is absolutely nuts. Here's an example against Jagras as I fire at it, as it charges at me, and trying to park charge timer at the same time because you know it's super annoying and trying to get it timed right is really bleh. But yeah, it's extremely powerful, and thanks to that increased range, you actually do more damage overall because you're staying in critical range longer. But how does Ballistics work? Well, this skill increases the critical range of ranged weapons. The Lunagaron Greaves provides Ballistics +2, which is only one level away from max, because level 3 is the max for Ballistics. So level 2 is huge, and as you see in this example test, this adds about an extra charge sidestep forwards or backwards of range, which allows you to gain more move flexibility offensively and defensively. A monster is not just going to sit there and let you blast it to death, so you're going to have to move out the way of some attacks. Where this comes in great is that if the monster does move forwards to you, or towards you, it usually happens to where you lose critical range because of the fact that it gets closer because of Pierce. So having one extra charge sidestep of extra range is enormous and huge. Speaking of huge, here's the Season 7 Black Diablos Bow data comparison. So here we compare the Burst Ballistics build and a Critical Ferocity 5 build, because those are the two top builds. As we see here, Burst 5 will clearly beat out Critical Ferocity by about 1%. However, that's not when we take Fighting Spirit into account, where Critical Ferocity does about 5% more damage than Burst. No, I'm not being biased. Fighting Spirit is a conditional skill. It has to have your special gauge full in order to activate, and it's only for 20 seconds. And the thing is, Burst is far more consistent than Critical Ferocity. This is also not taking the added Ballistics range into account. So this is just baseline build data. It's not taking live damage, like if you test it out, to where your critical range will stay in. Or it's not just your build damage, it's how far you can get into maximum critical range and stay there so that you can deal this as accurate as possible, these numbers right here. Because you lose Ballistics, the Critical Ferocity build, actually, as inconsistent as it is already, isn't as consistent as Burst, because Burst is easy to activate and keep active thanks to Black Diablos Bow in Pierce 4. And, well, not Pierce 4, charge level 3 to Pierce 4. There you go. And then again, that added range actually matters a lot. So this is just numbers data, but again, we're not taking into any other factors into account, where Ballistics is very important. And this brings us to the Season 7 Black Diablos Bow build. Burst Ballistics. So the meta for this is Focus 5, Burst 5, and Ballistics 2. And Bish Hat and Mail can flex for melee users as it carries Burst 2 with lock on. I believe that's the only chest piece right now with Burst 2 for the chest piece. So you're getting, with lock on, it's great for melee users. Burst 5 is still really great for melee and melee builds. Ballistics gives you extra range to do more damage by staying in optimal critical range. The two biggest pieces here that are most expensive are the Regen Coil at grade 8 and a Lunagaron Greaves at grade 8. Lunagaron's obviously out right now, so you don't have to worry about that too much. But for those of you that just started the game or like in mid-game, etc., you're probably not going to have the Regen Coil. However, this is for the most powerful raw weapon in the game, which is the Black Diablos Bow. Long time reigning, has the number 1 when year 1 came out, and the number 2 to grade 10 as far as every weapon goes in the game, which is absolutely nuts, and it's still really dang good. And even though if something else comes and overtakes it, it will still be good to use. So yes, it's totally worth it. To use this build, you need the Black Diablos Bow at grade 10 or as high as you can get it, the Azarathalos Helmet at grade 6, the Bish Hat Mail at grade 6, Rathian Van Braces at grade 6, Regen Coil at grade 8, and the Lunagaron Greaves at grade 8. Next up, we have a live test versus 9-star monsters. Here we test the Ballistics build versus 9-star Radabon and Chotacabra. I picked these two because, well, they're pretty large and, well, Chotacabra isn't that big, but Radabon is. And it's a good test to show, as they move forward towards you, like how critical range is able to affect the outcome of your battle. Because they're huge. So being able to do this and stay in range or examine just like, okay, how critical range does matter in hunts, because it does matter a lot. And I'm able to break the poor leg of this Radabon, break a leg, and that critical extra range you see there is actually doing a ton of damage. So this is why Ballistics is so dang good. Because monsters, you know, it would be nice if monsters just sat there but most of them actually won't sit there and just let you blast them to death. The thing is, these two monsters are pretty aggressive. Well, Chotacabra is like a smaller target, but I wanted to pick something that's not too crazy so they're not too crazy to where like, oh, we can't see how Ballistics is making a difference. Because if you're fighting something like Tigrex, or like what? Like Basil Juice, like they're kind of large and you definitely don't, like I would say a smaller target is easier also just to like see the numbers, and it's actually harder to aim at smaller targets and and keep critical range just because, you know, they're small. Huge ones, you can generally like just step back, but that would help a lot with Ballistics because like I mentioned before, with how Ballistics works, it gives you that one forward or one back as far as charge sidestep goes of critical range, which is pretty huge. And as you see here, as I sit in front of this Chotacabra, I'm pretty close, but I'm still doing a good chunk of damage thanks to Ballistics, and I'm able to stay in critical range, or a semi or pretty effective range, despite the fact this thing's trying to smash my face to death, like Iron Man versus Hulk in Avengers 2 Age of Ultron. Yes, go to sleep, it went to sleep, and we are victorious. Hopefully this helps you learn more about Ballistics and how it pairs well with super bows. Ballistics capping at 3 was huge. I was not expecting it to be like, oh, when I was looking it up at first, I was like, oh, this only has 3 levels, and I'm like, wait a minute, those legs look really good, as you see right here. And it's what makes this build work really well. It also improves consistency because you're staying in critical range. That's what's kind of nuts. Like, no one really talks about consistency because everyone just looks at, most everyone just looks at numbers. This is one of the few skills which actually improves your ability to stay consistent. And it's actually really dang good because critical range is important for you to deal maximum damage and to be as accurate as possible for those damage average results. With that being said, please do me a huge favor. Please like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. This was a lot. I actually had a lot of fun staying in critical range. I don't use this build as much as far as Black Diablos Bow, just because of the Camellias Bow, but it's definitely something that I like to play around with. And this is factually good. If you drift small into this, it's actually really good, and it will actually improve you, as you see with my time charger shots with the examples. So again, good luck on your grinds. I wish you the best of luck on your drops, and I will see y'all on the next video.